Hi, my name's Brent Grey. I do front of house sound for Silverchair.
First thing, the question that comes to mind for front of house people, I know the venues are going to vary wildly
hmm
when you're traveling around. Some of the big ones you think are going to be great, and they turn out being awful,
hmm
and vice versa. Is there anything that you bring with you to kind of solve problems? Is there anything you bring with you as far as making the sound of the band better?
Okay, well, I think, in the first instance, the difference between a big venue where you're carrying your own production and walking into a house system like the House of Blues, for instance, which has its own system here. If it's a big show, generally we'd be touring our own stuff, and so we're bringing our whole rig in, which goes a long way to doing that in itself, because you've got the same gear that you've had every other day. So the only thing that you're battling is the difference in the room. But apart from that, it's really just it's a bit of know-how and a few tricks of the trade. Sometimes, what I think my trick is to not stress too much during sound check, and stick my fingers in my ears so you can actually hear what's coming out of the PA, and just know that when you've got your intro song on at the start of the gig, when the venue is full, that's when you're going to get the best idea about what the room's actually going to sound like. So essentially I just do everything almost exactly the same every day, and just wait until I'm at the desk, the room is full, and there's a CD on, so you can actually hear the way that it's all going.
Do you prefer to bring your own production with you, or would you rather have it you walk in and there's a sound system?
Um, Again, it depends in what kind of context of touring. With House of Blues touring, it's great. I walk in, most of the rooms are exactly the same. Definitely the buildings are very similar in design. Most of them have very similar PA systems. They've all got a Midas H2000 out the front, which is great. And so, in that instance where you're doing good house venues, then no. But then we've done a bunch of other shows that weren't, up to the House of Blues standard, which I would have much more preferred to bring my own stuff in.
Right, so basically it depends on the venue, what you're going to...
The venue and the budget and stuff, and over here Silverchair is not huge, whereas in Australia they're massive. So we did an arena tour recently with, a VDOS PA from hell and all the tricks, and it was, 10,000 to 15,000 seater, most nights. So that's a completely different style of touring,
Right. So I mean, when you come here, have you ever brought like your own production stuff when you're doing long tours here?
Not in America, but we have in Europe and stuff. Yeah.
What do you bring? What is it? What is the setup?
Most of the time, I just have the console of my choice. Unless you've picked up a production system at the start of a tour and you're carrying it for the whole lot. Most of the time, if you're going to carry stuff, it's the little tricks like a monitor board or a front of house board and some effects. And then you get stacks and racks, or speakers and amplifiers locally, and so they'll just bring in whatever PA you want, and then you just plug all your stuff into it. And so the only difference then is the room and the PA.
So I mean, can you tell me anything about a room the problem you had to solve with a room that just was not cooperating? There are some rooms in this city that I've heard people tell stories that they walk in, they think they're fantastic, and then it's like they're possessed by a demon. I mean, what? I know it's kind of hard to generalize about that, but if you can think of a specific room you went into somewhere where it was just the sound wasn't cooperating and how you dealt with it.
Okay, I think the one off this tour that I remember the best was the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas, which was a horribly long, high-roofed room with a PA that was flown incredibly low and a mixed position that was up above the top of the PA.
No.
So that was a lot, and in those instances I just spend a lot of time. I try and reference as much during the sound check, like running up and down the stairs, to see what it sounds like up the top and see what it sounds like on the ground where the PA is actually pointing, and just try and find a reference, and then mix off headphones for the rest of the night. And just, you can't take your headphones off because it sounds horrible, and it sounds completely different, to the way you normally mix. But then if you were to walk downstairs, it's probably pretty close. So sometimes it's just a matter of just turning it off, knowing that you hate it, but it's probably great anyway, and just doing it.